Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayantara Rai. Today, the startup universe is certainly buzzing. Too much news. India has a new unicorn in Unacademy with co-founder announcing a $115 million fundraise round led by SoftBank. We just concluded an interview with the co-founder Gaurav Munjal where he revealed about a 45-minute long Zoom call with Maya Soshi Son. But my next guest is someone who can take credit for believing in Unacademy early on, being convinced about Unacademy even before maybe before even COVID-19 was something we even knew about. Karthik Reddy of Blume Ventures with us. Karthik, thanks so much. Sure, you're mighty pleased. You decided to invest again and participate in the new funding round of Unacademy. How did you discover Unacademy in the first place?
It's an interesting story. So Gaurav has been a compelling founder from even before Unacademy. Young bright kid who approached us when he was raising money for what became Flat Chat under Common Flow. And we were introduced by Akrit of Haptic, who was quite active in the ecosystem back then. And one determined young man at that point, 23 years of age, 22 years of age, 7 years ago. And we kept in touch by a series of sort of coincidental mails until he got acquired. And then obviously both of us liked the engagement enough that when we had a chance to meet in 2015, he intrigued us with this idea that, India's getting ready to see a democratized platform to deliver, scale education on the internet. It wasn't radically new. Byju's was doing what they were. Vedanta was doing what they were. Topper was doing what they were. But I think it was just a very fresh approach, and we loved the energy of the team that he had put together, and that's how the journey got started.
And what's very interesting is that even though he came, Unacademy came after Byju, you had Vedanta around, Topper around, Unacademy was very quickly able to differentiate itself. And is that what has stood out about Unacademy and its meteoric rise?
Yeah, I think the approach to how they solved the problem has kind of been a little more unique. They never went for, the one-to-one coaching. I think their intent was to solve for the maximum number of, students or learners, as they call them. And that shapes your product thinking, right? I mean, everybody can look at each other and roughly approximate what other platforms are doing. But product thinking and the culture with which you build is kind of unique in the way firm has sort of developed it from the get-go. And I think Gaurav's been kind of unique in that fashion, and it keeps expanding his head on terms of what he wants to do for learners across various fields. And so prep, which obviously brings in the big revenue right now, prep tests per se, was the most optimally suited for what Unacademy became in the first 3-4 years. But the reason why we played, since you mentioned that explicitly, is because we think we're just getting started. And I think he's hungry enough to know that learning proposition is different across different target segments, different audiences, different ages, different vocations, all right? Not everything is not engineering and medical prep. So, they've started chess. They will do something more interesting in K-12 through the acquisition of Mastery. And so that journey, I think, is what's exciting about Gaurav, right? To think from a product lens for the customer problem. And that's what we've loved about him. And that's the speed at which he adapts has been fascinating.
Okay. I'm going to make this my final question to you. EdTech has obviously been a COVID-19 winner. It is perhaps going to stay as the new norm. With so many new EdTech startups and the big guns also looking at it, how will you folks ensure that Unacademy stays on the winning curve?
So capital helps, and that's why I think he's raised. It's not like we need the capital as of today. We have most of, as you know, the last round was also $100+ million round just earlier this year. And what we like about Gaurav is he spends very thoughtfully on growth, on building the right parameters for the brand, investing in the right people and the companies. But the one way to stay ahead is to just buy great talent or adjacencies, right? The evidence is there. 3 acquisitions this year. CodeChef, Mastery, which was actually our portfolio company, as well as Prep Ladder, which was a bootstrapped winner. And I think one is to build up and bulk up in terms of capital and in terms of equity value so that you are able to make these decisions at the right time, right? And Byju's has done that, as you can see, with other companies. And so one is to stay ahead in that fashion. And second is just building phenomenal teams that can scale much faster than theoretically your competition can. So are there 3, 4, 5 big players? There are. Will they try to, encroach upon each other? Yes. We think the market is very large, and we don't think India is just the first step for most of these players. And we think we are building a global company, India first, and it would be fantastic to see decacons in the space other than and Byju's, and I think Unacademys well set to sort of go in that direction. But that's why our confidence, that's why yet another investment despite the round of valuation and the size from us.
With that, Karthik, I'd like to thank you for being so upfront, candid about the future of Unacademy, and congratulations to you guys at Blume also. You picked a winner
Thank you.
very early on.